Howdy everyone, I've been following all the marketing to Trek to Yomi since it was unveiled back in 2021. The game was developed by Flying Wild Hog, known for the Shadow Warrior trilogy. Are those games any good? Seriously, are they good? I never got around to playing them. Well, the team was approached by a publisher to develop a game set during the Edo period. You know, the time period where samurai were a thing. And who was the publisher? The messiah of game publishers, Devolver Digital.
My uncle that works at Nintendo.
Hey, yeah, yo, thanks for having me or whatever. Look, let me get one thing out of the way first. Tom Nook is into the federal government for over 600 large and unpaid taxes, and let me tell you something about it. He ain't got it.
I f***ing love these guys. Like I said, I've been interested in this game for roughly a year. It seemed like a 2D Ghost of Tsushima, though after playing a bit of the Trek, or should I say roughly half of it, I'd actually compare it to a game like Limbo, but I'll get to the reason for that shortly. The game opens with a tutorial. Our main character Hiroki is training with his sensei, learning the basics of the sword. Then our teacher is called to deal with something important. I'm instructed to stay put, but that's not gonna happen. Instead, I'm exploring my village. It seems calm and peaceful, but as I go further, it gets more and more chaotic. Combat starts, and I suck, but I start to get the hang of it as I get going. The controls are still pretty clunky though. The parrying is annoying, and having to hit the A button to turn does seem very unnecessary. More enemies appear, and I start to hear the sounds of panic and sadness from the villagers. I helped one out and got shurikens. These are one of the throwing items I could use throughout the game. After the first boss and witnessing my sensei die, I reached the second chapter, which is set after a big time skip. My childhood friend Aiko is a head of the village, while Hiroki is a fully trained samurai. There are some dead-eyed, demonic-sounding killers around, and it's up to me to take care of them. Trek to Yomi has an interesting story so far, but what kept me in was the presentation. I love the whole look of this game. The film grain and lighting is all on point. It's really reminiscent of an Akira Kurosawa film. I keep going, and I experience my first and only bug. This man really just jumped off the roof, and I can't go forward without killing him, so I guess I gotta reload the checkpoint. But after that small hiccup, I got to enjoy more of the amazing production value and the mediocre combat. Next, I reach a boss, and it was surprisingly simple. Now on to chapter 3. The village is now on fire. It's some Spencer Shea type shit. But hey, I got a bow and arrow. At one point, I did go through this sweet silhouette sequence. Next up, I encountered the Tainted, these demonic zombie looking things. So the game is becoming more and more mystical. I reach a boss who looks like something out of Elden Ring. Oh, and it looks like Aiko's dead. Oof. And now I have to select a path, having no clue if this affects the story or the gameplay. I picked the revenge looking path and reached chapter 4. At this point I enter Yomi, which is essentially samurai hell. Earlier I said that this is reminiscent of a game like Limbo, and this is the reason why. It's a 2D game, entirely black and white, while wandering an iteration of the afterlife. The major difference is that Trek to Yomi has a ton of subpar combat. I also have to do a puzzle. Normally I hate puzzles, but the ones in Trek to Yomi are quick and painless. Basically all I need to do is match these Japanese letters.
Get those Japanese words off of me.
I'm still not tired of the visuals. In fact, they get better upon entering Yomi, but I am getting tired of the gameplay, as I've said numerous times. I encountered this witch lady who is constantly summoning enemies. I was dumb enough to not realize that I had to prioritize attacking the witch lady head on. Fortunately, I could kill her quickly with this cannon thing. Did I mention that I had this cannon thing but never used it until now? I gotta use my throwing weapons more. Later on, I entered this labyrinth full of booby traps and fight another boss that is once again pretty simple to kill. Shortly after that, I encounter men on horses. Horses. Following another boss that I killed rather quickly, I reunite with Hikori's sensei from earlier and have another dialogue option to make. Again, I do not know if this really matters or affects the plot in any way. By chapter 5, the gameplay has gone from feeling tacked on to becoming nearly intolerable. I got tired of manually turning around. The timing and controls became more and more frustrating. I'm gonna sound like a stereotypical game journalist, but the game felt felt extremely repetitive and hard and just no longer fun. On top of that, Xbox was having some DRM issues with Game Pass. That sounds like a sign to put the game down. I gotta give credit to Flying Wild Hog to providing amazing attention to detail when it comes to the production value. The entire time I've been playing, it was like looking at a painting. It has a 10 out of 10 in the presentation department. I'm tempted to grab the art book because, you know, I love art books, but the combat just really brings it down for me. If you have Game Pass or see it on sale, I say that Trek to Yomi is at least worth giving a shot. I'm not the biggest fan of the title, but I could see some people completely loving it. With all that said, the cannon thingy is still fun to use.
A comedian, huh?